Alright guys, after troubleshooting and figuring out why my recording is not working properly, here's the continuation of my previous video. Obviously I might have to recap this a little bit. So previously I have basically unboxed the M2 case. And I was just basically try and see if the 5080 would actually fit in this case, properly, or at least without any issue. So the preliminary results are that yes, it's gonna fit in fine, which you could probably tell from me taking out one of these panels. So this is the bottom panel, and as you can tell that it is barely big enough to handle this card if you are able to install it this way. As you can tell, we have inch to spare. Now obviously those panels that I have, they come out of this particular bottom, so they come out like that. That would give you a little bit more space. So if you hold it like that, and then you take the other panel, hold it against like that. Now this was a super tight fit when I first start fitting it. Now there was just one issue about this particular style fit. If you go to their NCase M2 website, you're gonna see different style of fitting this particular case. Now for me, which is a concern for myself, is the AL cooler for this particular build, and also power supply. So I don't know how I'm gonna approach in recording this video, so I might just let the camera go, and as I'm trying to make everything fit, I will just keep it recording and fast forward to my decision on my result. I would really like to just use the standard layout, which is the graphics card on the bottom, CPU over a motherboard over here, obviously because the PCIe connector. I don't really want to do this style build. It's just because of potential PCIe riser issue, and I don't have a short riser for this just yet. So that's one of the concern. And also, if I put it in like this, I'm gonna run into a little bit of spacing issue back here for potentially a AIO pump, basically height, and also a lot of cable management issue this way. Now one pro thing, if I were putting the graphics card this way, is that the 12-volt high power connector will be heading this way. That will be plenty of a space to not bend that cable or cause any sort of connection issue, which will result of a fire. Now if I keep it this way, there should be still some space to run this cable. I'll have to see. Obviously I have my power supply sitting over here. I'll have to pull that cable out, but I need to figure out as I go. So with that said, this is the official part 1 of this build, I suppose. My last video didn't record properly, and I have to scratch that. So this is the official part 1 of this build video. And without any more delay, I will be starting assembling the motherboard and CPU portion of this build. Oh, and without mentioning anything else, extra fans, low profile fans, Noctua and you know, the Arctic P12 slim fans, and also the in-box fan for the Thermalright cooler that I have on the side over here. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. I think I will have very bad time putting this computer together. Let's just hope everything goes according to the plan. So I will be speeding up this particular build part, and I will be stop and talk about what the issues I have been, you know, going through, and yeah, speed up. Here we come. Alright, so I assembled the CPU, the RAM, and the SSD onto this motherboard, and obviously, as you can tell, I'm not using its heatsink that came with this particular motherboard. So I have a Gen 4 SSD sits over here. I don't believe it goes as hot as Gen 5, and there's no need to have this heatsink because it already has one installed. On the back of this motherboard, I do have an option to add another SSD in the back here, which in this case I won't be putting one. Maybe at a future point I will, but at the current stage, no, I won't be using one. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to mention to you guys before I continue fast forwarding. It's going to be the thermal paste. Now, for this particular build, I am opt out from my regular MX4s, and I'm going to opt in for the Thermal Grizzly thermal compound. I just want that one little bit of, you know, extra performance out of the thermal compound, just because it is a pretty hot CPU, even though I know it runs about 200 watts and at a very good performance level, but I am downgrading to a 240 rad, and I want to get the best option possible, so Thermal Grizzly. Now, with that assembled, I am gonna start with the case. Alright guys, just a quick recap before we continue is that for you to actually use this standard layout, now obviously as you can see I have already pulled up their manual to look at how everything is being can be configured, and you have to move this particular black bar from this location to this location. You just basically flip it over and it will allow you to mount this particular piece on this side. So one thing about fitting this power supply, I know I'm literally everywhere right now. I'm trying to think how to fit everything in here. Now, where's the GPU will sit around here somewhere, and we'll have the power supply sits around here somewhere. I'm actually gonna move the camera angle for you guys a little bit so you can see better. So that's probably where I wanted to sit, and that's the motherboard. So the only way I could actually mount this like properly is to have the AIO maybe this way. We will see how the AIO fit, but it'll fit this way. Alright, so I have only assembled 2 screws in this motherboard. The goal is to actually fit this guy into the case to see if everything fits. Alright guys, what I just did is I had to flip it back to the upside down sort of fitment, I suppose. It is just because this is taking too much of a space, and the only way to fit the graphics card is actually use the empty spot over here. So I need to go back to the top section and assemble the case the other way. Really don't like this band. See how there's no space whatsoever on this. So let me take one of their panels. And just kind of try to like, it's gonna have a bulge. Like, this panel is pretty flexible. Like, it has some give, so it is definitely not crushing down this power cable. But with that said, it's definitely really tight. Alright, I found some trusty old Arctic cooling fans, and I always like the fact that I can do the daisy chain stuff. It's just really nice to have that. Alright guys, ripping out the plastic bits are actually pretty challenging when you have everything already assembled. But I ended up taking it out. It took me a while, but yeah. So we have lined up everything and kind of figure out what we want to do. Now we just need to make sure everything is assembled. Alrighty, I got some grills. Time to do this the third time. And hopefully the final time. Alright. So that's in. Spin this fan. Not hitting anything. Oh, that's what's. That is hitting something. So there's nothing here. It's hitting something. Okay. Let's not use this fan. I'm very confused. So, of all that, are you telling me that this fan is no good? I'm not sure this is the one of the fans I used before, or is it brand new out of the box? I thought I took it brand new out of the box. Alright guys, I think I might just do some cable manage off camera for my, obviously, my personal use. But for now, I think I'm just gonna slap everything together and call this a video. Oh my god. No, that's not gonna fly. Yep. So let me show you the problem. If I try to flex this, you see that motherboard point? That is also flexing. That's gonna bend the motherboard. But what I'm seeing is also this motherboard. How are you not coming out? So the GPU is not sitting onto the motherboard properly. So this is by far the most annoying build I have done in my whole life. It's probably due to my fault. I don't really blame anybody but myself for this. But the only thing I really want to blame is this 12-volt high power, because it is just not playing nice with anything. how am I gonna run you properly without you catching fire and bending my motherboard? There you go. Let's switch to the other camera for you guys. All right, there you go. There's one little thing I need to mention is there's quite a bit of gap over here. I don't know if it's my fault or is it part of me trying to stuff too big of a graphics card in there, and that's not letting it in. But for now, it's technically finished. There you go, guys. I think I'm done. I haven't gone to BIOS yet, but to be honest, it is pretty quiet already. And to address with the gaps that I was getting it from the end of my last little bit of clip, is actually due to the radiator mount on this side. You actually want to like squeeze it in and tighten it as you go, and then give you a better panel gap over here. Yeah, other than the fact that I like try to fit more fans in this case, it was a little bit challenge. Overall, I liked the flexibility of this particular case and this design. I'm actually really looking forward to do a full water cooling on this case. With that said, there was while I was doing unboxing, I said I have to order an extra side panel. An extra side panel like this. I don't believe you need to order extra ones. Just because without this side panel, you cannot put this case together because it relies on this side panel to actually add rigidity. So I guess I ended up buying that one extra one. But yeah, I mean, great case. I liked the looks, the design, and the form factor. And you know, just for a little bit of reference of the size, LTT screwdriver on the top. It's pretty decent size. Nice compact. Really like the case. Alright, thank you for guys stay till the very last minute of this video. If you really enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing for the channel. Thank you. Bye bye.